What's up, everybody? Welcome to Think Big, episode 116. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Glad to have you guys here. Just a heads up for you guys tuning in. You're wondering where the heck is Sam? Sam already told me he's going to be late due to some traffic. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get the show started today. I'm excited about today's episode because we are talking about the most important word of 2025. This is an episode where you're going to want to have your notebook ready. You're going to want to have pen and pencil ready. Pull out your iPad, whatever it is you use to take notes. Go and grab it now because this isn't a sit back and just listen. I want you to apply the information you're going to learn tonight because, quite frankly, what I'm teaching is going to make you more money if you put it into use in 2025. It's already worked for me. It's already worked for my clients, and it's working at the highest levels in business. That one word, and do me a favor, if you already know what that word is, throw it in the chat. What's up, Chris? What's up, Ivan? Good to see y'all. If you already know what that word is, throw it in the chat. The word of 2025 is focus. 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 My man, Chris, always quick with the action. And so when we talk about focus, what's up, Zach? What's up, Amar? When we talk about focus, by the way, if you guys are tuning in, oh, I'm so glad you reminded me. I got to make sure we get the Instagram live going. So, guys, I'm just going to get the live running too. If you guys are tuning in on Instagram, make sure you comment the word YouTube if you're on Instagram so you could come over to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to write that here for people. Comment YouTube for the link. Gotta love automation. I love that we live in the future. But guys, I'm going to be excited about tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Got that pinned on the Instagram. All right. Damn. All right. This is the coolest thing, though, is coming back and seeing the chat go off with focus. Cindy saying focus. Eric, the blessed investor. Good to see you, Eric. Focus. Sean Clark, focal focus. And Zach calling people knuckleheads. Come on, Zach. He knows he's telling the knuckleheads to get over onto the YouTube channel. That's where it's at. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Focus is the most valuable skill you are going to develop in 2025. I can guarantee it. More than business, more than marketing, more than sales, more than fulfillment, because your ability to focus, it's the skill that gives you all your other skills. This is the equivalent of getting, if I had Aladdin's lamp, the genie, and I can have any wish I wanted, learning how to focus is the ability to say, I wish for more wishes. I wish for infinite wishes. And you may have heard the acronym for focus, which is follow one course until successful. Caroline and I talk about it all the time when we're teaching investors and we have 100 people on a Zoom call. We teach them, you have to focus. You got to follow one course until you're successful. And even though we say it over and over and over, Deborah, do you know I still get people that come to me and they're like, can you help me? Can you coach me? Can you? And I'm just like, all right, let's sit down. Let's have a conversation about where you're at. What are you working on? And they start to tell me they're working on their wholesale business. And then they're working on their lease option business. And then they're working on their gator lending business. And they're doing multifamily. And they're doing RV parks. And then they're doing, they're into boutique hotels. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And none of these things have been successful for that person yet. And they're confused at why they're not producing results. I'm going to let you guys in on $25,000 coaching right now because that's how much people pay me to coach them. I'm going to give you $25,000 coaching tonight for free. Get ready. You need to do less things. That's it. You don't even need to write me a check for that. Now, I'm partially joking, but I'm being for real. So tonight, this is what I'm going to be doing with you guys. I'm going to be sharing a focus framework that I came up with. I can promise you, unless you are on my coaching call this past Monday, you have never seen this framework anywhere else because I made this framework up. I created this framework from scratch, from my imagination. So I know you've never seen it anywhere else. We're doing a whiteboard session. I'm excited for it. But before we get in, I just want to prove, I like showing proof of how valuable focus is. And check this out. I have one client that I work with in particular. His name is Maj. Shout out to Maj. Maj is a brand new daddy. So if you guys know Maj, go give him some love. He's got a beautiful baby at home. And Maj shared this post in my community. Maj came into our Millionaire Mindset community. And this was after I was traveling across the US. I stopped in Colorado. Maj, I've been coaching Maj for over a year now, but I stopped in Colorado and I met up with him. I said, we're going to go work out in the morning and we're going to go get breakfast afterwards. And at breakfast, I grilled Maj. I love you, Maj. If you're watching this, I love you, man. But like, I looked him in the eyes and I was like, Maj, you're doing too many things. You need to focus. You need to do just one thing. And by the way, focusing doesn't mean trying to do all 12 things. Focus is the active removal of all things that are distractions. That's what focus is. It's the active taking away. And so I don't know if it was because we were sitting at breakfast or we had just finished the workout or he could see the seriousness in my eyes and he could feel the energy off of me, but he finally listened because I had given him this advice before. I'm going to be honest, guys. I told him what I told him at that breakfast table. I had told him the same thing before in the past, just over Zoom, but it finally clicked. And this is why I repeat myself so often. And within 30 days of that conversation we had at the table, Maj shared this post inside my community. He wrote, finally broke through a record month. I admittedly work 10 to 15 hours per week in the field. However, we've gained 3 reoccurring monthly clients, and we're starting to target commercial clients that will be weekly reoccurring cleans. My goal is to be out of the field completely by this December and average at least $20,000 a month, with his $4,000 above our current average of $15,000 per month. It's amazing what happens when cutting out the distractions. And if you guys see, he didn't just hit 15,000 or 20,000. He actually hit 30,000 by cutting out the distractions. Take a look at this. I want to present something else, right? Because this focus stuff, it's guys, it's serious. I was just talking to Victor. Victor and I do a coaching call on Tuesdays, and I was talking to him earlier today, and Victor shared this with me, and I was so proud of him when this happened. This was his first wholesale deal. He made $18,000, a little under $18,000 when he dialed in and he picked one lane. If you guys know Victor, you know he's in Florida, and the only thing he does is door knocking pre-foreclosures. It's his business model. It's his focus. He built a system around door knocking pre-foreclosures. He told me today, he was like, hey, I got 2 more on the contract right now, and I'm expanding the team. This is what happens when you focus. I want to show one more thing because I want to drive home this point with proof. This is just evidence of what occurs when you focus. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot. Don't be alarmed by this big number, but that is a check, a wire that came into Caroline's account for $243,000. Now, of that $243,000, she had to pay back a private money lender of $100,000. So that left $143,000 of profit to her business by focusing. And this is just one of the 11 deals she had under contract. And this was all within the time frame that Caroline, you guys know, lives with me here at the Mindset Manor. And one of the things that, if you ever ask her why she chose to move into the Mindset Manor, was she said, I want to be around Marlon and I wanted coaching from him, but I wanted more than just once a week coaching. I actually wanted to be in that environment of focus. Guys, I practice what I preach. I'm a very focused human being, which is why I'm emphasizing focus over and over and over. The numbers I'm showing you are not to impress you. They're to impress upon you. What happens when you lock in for 2025? What happens when you stay consistent and you pick a lane and you drive in just that lane and you stop paying attention to everybody else? So hopefully you're now paying attention. Hopefully you're thinking to yourself, there might be something to focus. And the beautiful thing, guys, I got nothing to sell you tonight. Like there's no pitch at the end of this. There's no product at the end of this. I just want to see you win in 2025. And I made a promise to you all that when it came to consistency and it came to having that reminder, I was going to be the guy that reminded you all throughout 2025 what you needed to do in case you started to fall off the track. I'm your guy. I got you. Let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to bring up my iPad. We're getting the iPad screen here. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you again, brother. Fun hanging out with you last night. All right, so I'm going to bring up the iPad screen, and we're diving into focus. For my people like Anthony, my people like Sean, people like Chris, you were here last night, and you got to see this, and it's going to be a good reminder for you again tonight. For the people that are like, wait, how did they get to see this? They are inside of my community, and yes, it's a free community. So again, I'm not selling you anything tonight. You can go and join the community too. You could be in there for free. You could be a part of the coaching calls with me at no charge. Like, again, people pay me $25,000 to coach them, and then I have people that I coach for free. And do I care that the people who pay me $25,000 get upset that I coach other people for free? No, because I'm getting both of them results. And that's the name of the game, results. Okay, let's talk about focus. I'm going to turn this iPad on. Let's get our clicker here. Cool. Let's go thicker, right? Like I think people want to be able to read. So again, we know about focus, FOCUS. And the traditional of focus is follow one course until successful. However, I have a different framework that I'm teaching here tonight. First is going to be our F. This stands for follow one objective. Yeah, you guys are probably going to write that way neater than me. Let's get this little QR code off the screen too. You guys already know how to find me on Instagram. You don't need to see that there. And so the F is for follow one objective. And when I say follow one objective, there's 3 points I want to make here. Okay. So point number one, and this is something I learned from Alex Hermosi. Many of you know I only listen to about 5 business owners, 5 entrepreneurs. I have 5 people in my head at any given time. And those are the only 5 voices I listen to. Right now, Alex Hermosi is one of the 5. And so this is a valuable lesson, probably one of the most important lessons on focusing and attention that I ever learned from the man. And I want to share it with y'all. Alex spoke about this concept of your attention being like marbles, and that we have these marbles of attention. And in this case, let's imagine that we've got these 10 marbles of attention. And your 10 marbles of attention is all of your mental bandwidth to be able to focus on any given task. And what happens is most people are, you guys are entrepreneurs, you guys are in real estate. I know my audience. A lot of you are wholesaling right now. So your wholesale business, you look at it and you determine that costs 3 marbles of attention. Okay, cool. But then somewhere along the line of wholesaling, you found out about this thing called transactional lending or gator lending. And you're like, I'm going to also do that. So I'm going to start a lending business. And that lending business, well, luckily that lending business only costs 2 marbles of attention. It takes a little less effort. It's a little bit easier to get into. Heck yeah, I'm going to do it. But you kept on this journey and you found out about RV parks. And, RV parks, those are some big assets, but they also got some big rips. And those cost 3 marbles of attention. Not to worry, though. You've got 10 marbles, and so far you've only spent 8. But then you also learned that multifamily, this is the best time ever. This is the only time ever to buy multifamily. Like, this is just the hot season. At least that's what the guru who was selling the course told me. And multifamily is costing 3 marbles of attention. But wait a second. We're running into our very first problem, Anthony. See, if I do my math, 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. I don't have enough marbles of attention to handle this. Oh, wait a second. Anthony, I also forgot. I have a family. And I mean, my family is low maintenance. My kids are young. They don't really need to see me every moment of every day, but that still costs 2 marbles of attention. And oh, shoot. I also have some hobbies that they keep me sane. They keep me from going crazy. It lets me be able to show up for work. Like, I got to have my hobbies. Like, I got to still work out in the gym. And, that's costing me 2 marbles of attention. Well, Anthony, I'm looking at 15 marbles of attention here required to run my life. This is an issue. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I got this figured out. Here's what we're going to do. My lending business right now, I can take a break from that, and I'm going to pull those marbles of attention back for a moment. Okay. And I will also, from right now, I'm going to take a pause on multifamily and I'll pull my marbles of attention back from multifamily, and we're all good, right? The 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3, that's 10. Nobody breathe, nobody fart, nobody make a noise. We got this business situation figured out. That's what you start thinking to yourself. But here's the reality. What happens? You're like, no, Marlon, I've got equally, my marbles are equally distributed. It's all accounted for. We are good. Who knows that in your business, this is going to happen? This is called a dumpster fire. Your wholesale business, somebody is going to have squatters in the house. A buyer is going to back out. Title company is going to screw up and not do the paperwork. And now you find out there's $100,000 lien on the property that no one addressed. And that's going to cost 3 marbles of attention. But you don't have any more marbles. So you know what you say? Oh, I'm just going to borrow some marbles from the family, and I'm going to take just one. So there's one left, and I'm just going to take one marble back from my hobbies, and nobody move. We're going to put that fire out. But while you're putting that fire out, guess what happens? Because you're not giving your family the attention, a fire pops up over here. And that costs 2 marbles of attention. And then you start playing this game of trying to move the marbles all around. You're constantly busy, always exhausted, and producing no results. Because the reality is, when you took those marbles from your lending business and you took it from your multifamily business, it wasn't like you disconnected and saying, I'm shutting it down. You're telling yourself you're putting it on a pause and you're going to come back to it later. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you were in a relationship with somebody and you told them, let's just put the relationship on a pause right now? And did that work out well for you? See, either you're in it or you're out of it. If somebody tried to put you on pause in a relationship, if your job said, yeah, let's just put you on pause, it's not going to work. You're either in or you're out. So what I'm going to suggest you do here in 2025, because I'm talking about focus, is let's go back to the beginning. Let's get our 10 marbles of attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel like I'm drawing a Dragon Ball. And let's say wholesaling is your business, and that wholesale is 3 marbles of attention. Then you got your family over here, and that's 2 marbles of attention. Then you got your hobbies, and that was 2 marbles of attention. Here's what I'm going to suggest. Stop right there. Add nothing else. But Marlon, that only adds up to 7. 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 2 is 7. And I got 10 marbles. I got 3 extra marbles. Yes, you do. And those 3 extra marbles are going to be there to handle problems when they occur. Because when those fires pop up, and not if the fires pop up, it's when the fires pop up, and fires are inevitable. When your fires pop up, you need to have the mental bandwidth to be able to go and handle those situations. So that F, it stands for follow one objective. You're choosing one objective. We're building this wholesale business. And even within building that wholesale business, it's choosing one objective. This is our strategy. We're going direct to seller. We're focusing on pre-foreclosure, or we're focusing on probate. This is our marketing channel. The more you can concentrate, the more you can identify a single objective within your goal, the more of your horsepower, the more of your marbles you will be able to place on it, and the more effective you will be. And when you have the actual marbles of attention to be able to handle the problems, what you're going to find is the problems don't seem so big anymore because you can actually address them. And you're going to start to recognize those little things that you bring into your life are actually the big problem, even though they're small, because they take away your ability to focus. They take away your attention. Okay, so that's the first point. The second point I want to make here about following just one objective is there's rules to house flipping. And these rules in house flipping, I discovered, also are rules of building a business. It was surprising. I learned these rules from 2 mentors I had from Florida, Gene and Ron. They taught me that, Marlon, is, and when you're flipping houses, because they're amazing flippers, they've been flipping properties for the last 20 years. They're this godsend in my life. They helped me out so much when I had contractor issues and all that fun stuff. And they said, Marlon, when you're flipping a house, there's what we refer to as Rule 101 and Rule 102. And I was like, what the heck's Rule 101 and 102? Like, these sound important. I feel like I should know Rule 101 and 102. And they said, well, check this out. Rule 101, it will always cost more than you think. When it comes to building your business, when it comes to achieving a goal, when it comes to creating success in 2025, I'm here to tell you it is always going to cost you more than you think it will. Getting good at sales? You think it's, I just got to do 1,000 calls? No, it's going to be something like 10,000 calls. And so Rule 101, your goals. What's up, Sam? Good to see you, bro. I'm getting all excited today, man. Rule 101.
You're on a roll, man. I just got in, and like the energy you're bringing right now. Holy crap! Continue. This is too good.
I'm excited. All right. So, rule 101, it's always going to cost more. And so, if that's rule 101, what do you think rule 102 is? It will always take longer. It's going to cost more than you think, and it's going to take longer than you think. And I just want you to anticipate that right now for 2025. I want you to anticipate that your goal of starting $1 million business, your goal of buying 10 rental properties, your goal of doing $20,000 a month, I want you to anticipate that it will cost more. And I'm not just talking in dollars, I'm talking in effort, I'm talking in volume, I'm talking more relationships, more networks, I'm talking going deeper. I'm just talking all across the board in every aspect that you can possibly measure. It will cost you more. And then as far as time, anticipate that it will take longer than you expect. In fact, humans are notoriously terrible at predicting the length of time it will take to do something new. We're terrible at it. Like I personally, I can tell you, I still suck at predicting how long it will take me to do something new. In fact, I get better because Sam got me one of these last year. He got me this kitchen timer. And when I'm working on a new task, I use this timer in two ways. One way I use the timer is when I know something should take me a certain amount of time, I will set the time for its achievement and I will let the timer count down. Then when I'm working on new things, I will actually start the timer at 0 and let it count up. And I will see how long I work on these projects. So I start to get a gauge of this is how long it takes me to produce. This is the length of time it takes. And I can start to understand what my production speed is. So just recognize your objective that you're going for is going to cost more and it will take more time. Now, final situation here for this final point I want to make. And we're still just on F. We're still on following one objective. The final point I want to make is that everything you're working on, they all can work. All of them are viable. Gator lending, wholesaling real estate, being a TC, owning a title company, buying Section 8 rentals, doing pad splits, doing Airbnb, doing arbitrage. All of these things can work. Just being a closer, just being a marketer, just generating leads for other people. Every last one of those has the ability to help you achieve your particular goal, because most of you, I already know, are just looking to have financial freedom. Most of you are just looking to become financially independent. Not a lot of you are interested in becoming billionaires. Not a lot of you are interested in earning $100 million. I talk to a lot of you. I know your personalities. That's not what you're after. You're more interested in, look, I want to just make enough money to pay my bills, to not have to worry about money, to spend more time with my family and walk my dog. I get it. That's cool. Listen, I'm not one of those people that tells you you need to go be a billionaire. I don't think everyone needs to be a billionaire. I really do not. I think you need to be happy. And I think having options make you happy. And the opportunity vehicle you're in, I can promise you, it can get you there. However, what you need to do is you need to stop jumping ship. Right now, you jump ship too soon. And what happens, this is what I've actually looked at this. I've been figuring out, why do people jump ship so much? And it's because of this. When you're new at something, you get to feel, no matter what it is, when you start learning something, there's this like feeling of progress, because your growth in the beginning of learning anything new is exponential. If you know absolutely nothing, everything you learn is progress. Everything you do is progress. It's experience. And so people feel this, but at some point, it starts to tip over and it goes down. And people don't like this feeling, although it's a natural part of progress. So people bail and they start something new and they go up. They bail, they start something new, and they go up. They bail, they start something new, they go up. 12 months later, they're like, I progressed a whole lot, but I don't have anything to show for it. Yeah, because your progression never compounded. All of your progressions were in different domains. None of them are connected to each other. And so what I want to remind you of is, when you don't jump ship, this is what it looks like. You go up, you go down, but then you get to go back up again. You go down, you get to go back up again. I mean, in reality, it's something like this. For just being honest, at least this is what my path has looked like. but then eventually you arrive. So this only gets to occur if you stay on one objective. Now, let's keep going. Let's get out of the F and let's go on over to the O. And let's talk about what the O stands for. And Sam, at any moment, if you want to cut in, bro, you cut in because I will just keep riffing.
The only thing that I wanted to hit on is this, guys. Because you guys know I'm big on sales and marketing. That's my jam. And everyone comes to me and they're always like, Sam, how do we generate leads? Which marketing channel, this, that, and the other. And they're also quick to start, like the little hill that you drew, right? The up and the down. Guys, every strategy on earth, every marketing channel, every sales process, every form of investing, every strategy, storage, single family, no matter what you do, you will always have this immediate uptick. And here's why. Because when you were researching and you were talking to your friend who's doing it, they're only sharing the stuff that'll get you that immediate uptick, but they didn't share because either they may not know or they just didn't let you know that there is going to be, on the back end of this early growth, there will always be a dip. Because you didn't realize that all this stuff's going to happen. Here's the reality. That dip is going to happen with every strategy on earth, no matter what. There is no strategy that is immune to it. If it was, then we would have all have been riding that and we would have no doubt and we'd all be billionaires by now. But the reality is simply this. Whatever you do, you will have early clarity because it's easy to get clarity. It's early to feel that. You'll have early traction like, oh my God, it's working like they said it would. Awesome. And then you hit your little kind of invisible ceiling that you didn't know it was going to be there. Here's the thing, though. The first time you feel it, that invisible ceiling, it's going to feel like you're going to press on it. And it's going to feel like bulletproof glass that you can't get through. Okay. And that's why people, they jump ship and they go on to another hill to climb. And what ends up happening, same bulletproof glass. And the more you do it, here's the reality. That glass, it's like paper thin. You just thought it was bulletproof. And all you have to do is break through it one freaking time. And then you realize every invisible ceiling above you on every hill isn't bulletproof glass. And you can break through all of them with a simple little tap. And that's the key. So I got to say that, man. Back to the
Bro, I love that. I mean, honestly, guys, right now, like if we stop the podcast right there, if I ended the episode right there, tell me this wasn't already valuable enough for you. Tell me you didn't. Like, the reality is you just got, let me know in the comments. I want you guys to know, tell me in the comments, if I stopped the episode right here, we called it a day, did you not get enough value already for 2025 that you can be more effective? You can produce more results than you did in 2024. Because your ability to lock in on just a single task and push through barriers is going to separate you from everyone. Let's go over to the O. When we talk about O, here's what it stands for. Ownership. Okay, let's talk about ownership. When I say ownership, Cindy, I'm talking about taking ownership of two things in particular. The first, I need you to take ownership of your decisions. Take ownership of your decisions. Now, let's break up the word decision, because what is a decision even? So the word decision, it's actually two words. De, which means it's a subword for off or away. And scission, the Latin word for scission is cedere. It's cedare, which means to cut. So the word decision actually means to cut off, to cut away. When I'm asking you to take ownership of your decisions, I'm asking you to acknowledge the fact that when you said, and this is how you said it, you bought into a program. When you said, I'm going to become a wholesaler. When you said, I'm going to do short-term rental. When you said, I'm going to be a private money lender. When you said, I'm going to start a SaaS company. When you said, I'm going to start an e-commerce company. When you said, I'm going to drop shipping, you made a decision. And effectively, you cut off all the other options. You cut off Retreat. You cut off the million other businesses out there that you would do, that you would entertain, the conversations you would have. You also cut off the people who were not in this realm. I need you to take ownership, true ownership of that decision. You need to sleep with that decision. It's yours. You made it. And in 2025, I need more people around me. I need more people around me who are taking ownership of their decisions, who aren't backpedaling on their decisions, who aren't backpedaling on the things they said. In fact, if the only thing you did going forward as a business was simply did what you said you were going to do, you'd be one of the wealthiest people in the world. I jokingly said this last night to a group. I said, if my contractors who've renovated my homes, if all they ever did was just what they said they would do, I can make them literally the wealthiest people in the world, because contractors never do what they say they're going to do. They just don't. And so take ownership of your decisions. And when you do this, a lot of people, here's why they don't take ownership of their decisions. And this might be you. So I'm talking to you if you're one of those people. It's because you're afraid you're going to make the wrong decision. And so a few years ago, I hired a coach, and she sat down with me, and I was in this position where I was struggling to make a decision because I don't have that story of I'm the entrepreneur who dropped out of school. And I dropped out of college, but I didn't drop out of high school. I was a straight A student, just being real. The only class I didn't get A's in was Spanish. I'm okay with that. I speak English. And I was rewarded my entire life for having to answer right before I spoke, for having to answer right before I took action. And then I step into this funky world of entrepreneurship where there's no way to always have the answers right beforehand, before you go. You just got to take these leaps of faith all the freaking time. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I always jumping out of these damn airplanes without parachutes, and I got to build planes on the way down? Why can't there just be an easier way? And I realized that's called getting a job. It's just not entrepreneurship. It's not the game I'm playing. And my coach saw that I was struggling with making decisions. She would hear it in my language that I would never fully say, this is what I'm going to do, because I didn't want to choose the wrong thing. And so one day she said to me, Marlon, and I want you to make it personal. You insert your own name, but I'm going to make it personal. She said, Marlon, make a decision and make it right. She didn't say make the right decision. She said make a decision and then make it right. And that hit, like, oh my gosh. Like, guys, it was like she opened the front door and a semi-truck came through and slammed me down. Because that's the reality of what we do. We make a decision and then we go forward, and then we do whatever is needed after the fact to make it the right decision. That's how you produce. That's how you win. Sam, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, 100%. No matter what path you pick, okay? Because she didn't say pick the right choice or pick the right path, because that would assume that one is right and all others are wrong. And if that was the case, wealth would only be accumulated one way, and then we'd never second guess anything because we'd all know the right answer. So if there's an infinite amount of paths, but it's up to you to make it right, I want everyone to feel this. What variable is the thing that makes it right? Guys, it's freaking you. That's it. If you're one of the people, and I'm not disparaging anyone here, for all the people who DM me all the time about marketing and scaling, especially scaling their businesses, they come to me with so much fear and hesitation about starting a new thing. And because they're like, oh, I'm going to go down this way, I'm going to go down this route, I'm going to hire this person, I'm going to invest in this. And it's always so funny to me. It's because they assume that the path is going to have the result. And it's so funny. If I look back at the $184,000 that I've spent on mentorships and masterminding and all the things, I would say that none of them are the reason why I am a millionaire now. None of them are the reason why I have a 7-figure business. The core reason that that's happened, it's the one variable that stayed constant, and that's me. And so you need to be the person where I think all of us would agree. If Alex Hormozi started wholesaling tomorrow in real estate, something he's never done before, none of us would doubt that he'd be an 8-figure earner in probably his first 12 months easily, if not more. The reason why, it's not that wholesaling works. It's not that lending works. It's not that freaking, selling courses doesn't work. It's the person who's doing it. And if you ever feel like you're on this freaking wheel, like this hamster wheel or this Ferris wheel, and like you're on this Ferris wheel trying to get results, you jump off it, jump on the next one, don't get the result you want, and then you're like, let me just go get on the next wheel. The problem is you haven't identified the variable that's responsible for success, and it's you. So I want everyone to hear that. She didn't say pick the right thing. She said pick a thing and make it right. And the person who makes it right is you. Once you start believing that and you have conviction in that, you know what's going to happen? No matter what you do, you will be a massive success. That's why if Elon Musk comes and says, hey, I'm going to be a lender tomorrow, I have no doubt he's going to make $1 billion lending because it's freaking Elon Musk. So, okay, back, dude. I'm so sorry. That was so good.
Dude, no, I freaking love it, man. Dude, you're spot on. And so I gotta get my iPad back up because my iPad just came down. There it is. Add it back to the stage. All right, let's keep going. And guys, if we might end up going a little long tonight, we might go over. I'm gonna do my best to keep us on track because the second thing you need to take ownership of, I mentioned two things. The first thing you're taking ownership of is your decision, and then the second thing you're taking ownership of, it's your time. And when I talk about taking ownership of your time, this is in part also your attention. It's honoring your calendar. There are way too many people that you have plans until somebody asks you to do something. Think about what I just said. You've got plans. You got a schedule until I invite you out. Until I say, hey, come with me to this event. Come with me to this meetup. Hey, come with me. Guys, honor your freaking calendar. See, one thing I appreciate about Sam is there are times in the day that even though he's my best friend, I can't get a hold of him. He's not responding to a message. He's not answering a phone call from me, period. And I respect that because he respects his own time. He's in control of his time, not me. And I love that about him. Many of you know if you try to reach me at a certain hour, I am inaccessible. I am dead to the world. You have zero control of my time. In 2025, you need to take ownership of your own time. And I get it. It's hard. You went to school. They told you where to be, when to be, how to be. You graduated from school. You went to college. They told you where to be, how to be, when to be. You graduated from college. You got a job. They told you where to be, when to be, how to be. You got a job and that attracted a lady into your life. And now you got married. She tells you where to be, when to be, how to be. Everywhere you go, somebody's trying to tell you what to do with your time. And then you join us wacky entrepreneurs. And then you realize time is this made up concept. And it's a Tuesday afternoon. You're on the slopes in another state snowboarding with your best friends with an Olympian. And you're like, what the hell is happening? That's entrepreneurship. You're in some weird places at some weird times. Nothing makes sense over here. But it's still your responsibility to own your time. It's your responsibility. And look at this. J.D. Rockefeller, there's a beautiful book that I'm reading from him, 38 letters that he wrote to his son. Amazing book. I'm doing some podcast episodes on it, and I'm doing some like other YouTube episodes on it. So if you guys want to know more about that, go inside there. Or those of you who've been inside my community, you've been reading the essays I've been writing as a result of reading this book. And he talks about time in such an interesting way. J.D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men, one of the greatest business tycoons in American history, said time is the only currency that is unbiased. Everybody gets an equal amount of it. How you spend and invest your time is up to you. And so many people hand that over to others. That's your responsibility. In 2025, I need you to take complete and absolute extreme ownership over your time. Let's continue. So we got the F, we got the O, and now we got our C. When we're talking about focus, C, this stands for commit. And make sure you guys are writing notes. I need you to be taking notes. Do not just watch this. Go and get your notebook. If you already started, you're 30 minutes in, I'll forgive you. Go get your notebook right now and make sure you're writing this down. Because when I'm talking about committing, I need you to marry your goal. Why do I say marry your goal? I'm pretty sure I haven't been married yet, but I'm from the movies I've watched and from what friends told me, they have these things called vows. And when they do these vows, one of the vows that I remember hearing is through sickness and through health. In other words, baby, I'm with you through the highs and the lows. When you commit to your goal, when you commit to your business, effectively what you're saying is, look, I'm going to continue on even through the hard times. I'm going to continue on even when things are ecstatic, all throughout. And there's a word that to me goes along with the word commit. And it's this word right here. It's until. How long are you going to do this? The answer is until. Until what? Until it works. Until you win. Until you get a result. Until you get to the next freaking level. That's how long you need to do this. And I think back to, Sam, you're going to love this. I think back to when I first got started. Keep this in mind, everybody. For those of you that know my story, October 2019, I invest into a $25,000 real estate mentorship program. So effectively, I go $25,000 into debt. Fun. And then from there, a global pandemic breaks out. But not to worry, I got my script. They told me what to say. So I'm calling New Yorkers during a global pandemic, asking them to sell me their house. You cannot believe the sort of hate I was getting. People were tearing me apart, but I'm too stupid to know any better. So I just keep on trudging along. Eventually, I get my first deal, but I'm motivated because come January 2020, right? I'm really taking action. I'm making these phone calls and I set a goal. And can you guys guess what my first business goal was? By December 25th, 2020, I'm going to make $1 million. Because, it's funny. I think there are two newbie goals. Everyone is either going to make $1 million their first year in business, or you're going to make $10,000 a month. And there's never, look at that. Funny. Casey said 10K, right? Like
it's never anything else, dude. It's never anything else.
We all have the same goal. Like I don't know why it's like it's the brand new entrepreneur starter kit. We should make a meme about that. Like,
well, here's the thing. You want to
funny meme.
Dude, you want to take it one step further? Now that I've mentioned this, you're gonna realize this is true because this happened to me yesterday, literally yesterday. I think it might have been this morning. If they are underneath the age of 26, the goal is always I want to make $1 million. If they are over the age of 26, it's always I want to make $10,000 a month. Why? Because the people who are a little bit older, they have a little bit more sensibility. They're like, I just want to get my bills paid. Under 25, 26, always I want to be $1 million entrepreneur. I want to make my first $1 million. I want to be a 7-figure guy. And it's always like in a 12-month span. But yeah, it's funny. It's age based, honestly.
It's so funny you say that because it's so true. It's that youthful, uninformed optimism, and I love it, by the way. But the reason I share that story with you guys is because let me catch you up to speed on what happened at the end of 2020. Not only did I not make $1 million, I made maybe I think around $12,000 or $13,000, not including the unemployment checks I was having to collect because I am broke. And so, it's all right. 2021, gonna go hit that $1 million. Well, I didn't hit $1 million in 2021 either. But 2022, it's all good. I'm gonna move out to Arizona and I'll hit $1 million. Well, I didn't hit $1 million in 2022 either. I'm just being honest. 2023 was the year I hit my first $1 million. Now, what would have happened if I had said, well, I didn't hit my goal. And I told myself I made it. I wrote it down. I told everybody I was going to do this in a year. I told my mom I was going to do this in a year and it didn't happen. I should probably switch. I should probably go do something else. I would have never gotten to that point. See, although I had said the words, I'm going to do it in a 12-month time frame, in my heart, I made up my mind. I'm doing this thing until it works. I burned the boats. I invested way too much money. I invested way too much time. I put my name on the line. I'm doing this thing. I'm doing it. Until. And I think back to someone who's not a real estate entrepreneur, but someone we all know, J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter. What you guys may not know about her is the fact that she was rejected by 12 different publishers as a single mother on welfare. Think about that. If there's anyone who has justification in giving it up and going in and getting a regular job and stopping what they're doing and stop pursuing, it would be a mother on welfare who's trying to feed their kids. Like, hey, you got rejected by publishers. Not just one, not just two, not just three. 12 different publishers said this book ain't it. Give it up and go do something else. But she made up in her mind, I'm not stopping until I see success. And I think about one more story. I think about this is a story from Alex Hormozi. Alex talks about this. You guys know I like to share some of his stories because he's one of the voices in my head right now. And that sounds so weird. He's one of the voices in my head. Alex Hormozi, when he was in college, he was a part of a fraternity. I believe we might have shared this story in the past. He was in a fraternity, and it was his year to be the, let's call it like the frat president. I believe he was the president that particular year. And he had the freshmen who were coming in looking to be a part of the fraternity. And of course, they have to go through their hazing, which is essentially an 8-week process of them having to go do all these different tasks and run around and clean the floors with their toothbrush, that kind of stuff. And so every single year, the freshmen always get to a point where they finally get fed up and they go and they basically come at their president saying, we're tired of this. And so here it is, that time has come, and it's Alex's turn to go and talk the freshmen off the ledge. And so Alex sits down with all of them, but they really just gang up on him in the hallway, and they're expressing their grievances. He listens, and when they're finally done and they vent all of it out, he just asks a simple question. He goes, all right, just out of curiosity, how many of you thought this was going to be easy? By a show of hands. No hands are up? Okay. Well, let me ask this. How many of you thought this was going to be difficult or hard? Everybody's hands go up. Says, okay, well, guys, this is what hard feels like. You're no longer motivated. You don't want to do the work. You're tired of showing up. This is what hard feels like. But here's the reality. We're asking you to spend the next 8 weeks suffering so you can spend the next 3.5 years partying it up on campus, being the guys at this school. And then afterwards, you're going to have access to a network of all these other guys. And let me ask you this. Would it really be that valuable if we just let anybody in? Would you even want to be a part of the fraternity if we just opened up the door and let everybody in? Entrepreneurship is effectively the exact same thing. The only reason you want it is because it's hard. So stop trying to wish the heart away. Do it until. Let's go over to the next, because we are almost done spelling this word. This is the longest way it is. I think this is the longest way to spell the word focus. For
the longest 5-letter word on earth, man.
This is a huge, I love this framework. Is game changer. You missed the beginning too when I was sharing. The people who did focus, you'll go back and you'll rewatch. So the U, upgrade. Understand that who you are right now, if you were already the person that would produce the results, you would already have the results. You've got to level yourself up. I keep looking at entrepreneurship as a video game, and I think about video game characters. When you start off in any game, what happens? You're at level 1. You've got level 1 armor. You've got level 1 attack. You've got level 1 stamina, level 1 health. All the attributes in you are at the lowest ranking. Same thing in entrepreneurship. But as you go on, you start to level up. Now, here's what I'm going to suggest you do that's different than maybe what you may have been told in the past. Right now, you understand you need to level up, but you want to do it in the areas that make you feel good. You want to do it in the areas that you like versus finding out what is required. This is one of the reasons I value my friendship with Sam so much. Sam doesn't talk to me about what do I want to do. Sam talks to me about what is required based on who I want to be. That's where he turns the conversation. Because if it's up to me, I'm just going to want to do more of what I'm already doing because I already enjoy doing it. So I'm going to get more of what I already have. You keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep having what you have. Where Sam will stop and he'll say, Marlon, based on who you want to become, based on what you want to accomplish, what is required of that version of you. Oh, I mean, Sam, that guy knows how to do different skills. He can market, he can sell. Sam's like, exactly. That's what you need. That's the skill you need to work on. Now, here's why you say you don't like it. Because right now, you suck at it. That's why you don't like it. I don't like playing games that I suck at either. I hate it. But I found a curious thing. When you get better, you want to play the game more. The better you get at something, the more you want to do it. See, I used to say, I'm not really a sales guy. That's just not my thing. I don't like to have to sell people. And the reality was I had never learned how to sell. I sucked at it. But then I started practicing. I started developing the skill. I recognized it as an unavoidable skill that I had to develop. Unavoidable skill. Write that down. What are the unavoidable skills that you have to develop? And sales was one of them. And as I got better at sales, and I mean, I was terrible in the beginning. As I got better, I started to enjoy the process. I started to enjoy learning about it. I started to enjoy practicing it. In fact, this past weekend, one of my clients, me and David, we went out for a hike at Camelback, and we were basically doing like a sales game on the way up the mountain. If you're familiar with the Sandler method, there's this game where you can't answer with a statement. Everything has to be answered with a question. And the person to first answer with a statement and not answer with a question loses. And we played this game for like 20 minutes. And so you get better and you enjoy the things as you improve at them. And there's a famous scene in the movie The Matrix. Not the one where Neo's dodging the bullets, but it's when Morpheus brings Neo to the rooftop. And he looks at Neo and says, "You have to believe." And he turns around, runs, and jumps across a skyscraper onto another skyscraper that's an entire city block length apart. And Neo's like, okay, like, I gotta believe, I can do this. Like, just let your mind free. And everyone's watching because Neo's the one. Morpheus keeps telling them, like, look, I found the one. This is the cheat code. He's the secret. He's the sauce. Neo runs to the edge, jumps, slams into the ground. And in that movie, when they're on the ship and they're like, wait, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean that he just failed? One of the guys says it means nothing. Everybody fails the first time. And I want to remind you, when you're upgrading your skills, you're going to fail. And when you fail, what does it mean? It means nothing. Everybody fails the first time. Stop telling yourself the stupid lie that, oh, I suck. I'm not a people person. Shut the hell up. You are. You're a people and you're a person. Therefore, you're a people person. Oh, I'm not good at numbers. When being good at 5th grade math makes you millions of dollars, guess what? You're a numbers person. And so you got to upgrade yourself. Now, let's move on to the last letter. Sam, you want to add anything there to the upgrade before we bounce on to the last?
No. No, I'm just thinking about The Matrix right now, dude. That scene was so freaking good, dude.
Such a good. I love the first Matrix so much.
But actually, I will say this really quick for anyone that hasn't watched it. Just so you know, 80% of that movie is Neo failing. They go into the dojo, and then he downloads he learns every martial arts style on Earth. And then what does he do? He gets his ass handed to him by Morpheus, and Morpheus says something really funny, and it's actually very insightful. And he says Neo's trying to hit him, and he's doing everything he possibly can to hit Morpheus, and then Morpheus just keeps dodging and evading and blocking, and Neo never lands a hit. And then it's the weirdest thing that I never got as a child, and it wasn't until I got older and I watched the movie again that I understood it. Morpheus says this thing to him. He said, "Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me." And like, as a kid, I never understood what the hell that meant. Like, he is trying to hit you. What are you talking about? And it was funny because Neo was trying to hit him, and eventually he does. He does land it, but it's actually when he stops trying to hit him, and then he becomes the thing. He becomes the one. And it's funny, if he didn't go through all of the failure for 80% of the movie, the payoff at the end of when he, by the way, died, spoiler, but it's a 30-year-old movie, so I'm a spoiler. Who cares? It wasn't until the end of him actually dying of his actual human life was he basically brought back and then was the one who could do all the things and bend time and space. And so a lot of people don't realize, guys, Neo had to fail for 3 freaking hours of the movie to have the one final payoff at the end, but the one final payoff in the end made him the chosen one for the rest of eternity. Like, okay, go.
Dude, that is such a testament to we gotta riff on this for 2 seconds, because what Sam just said, so much value. And Tiffany, I've been telling you that you need to watch this movie. Tiffany just said, I really need to watch this movie. Every time I bring up I reference The Matrix probably a little bit too much. And it seems like every time I reference The Matrix, Tiffany is nearby. And then she will remind me yet again that she has not watched this movie. So we're going to do like a Matrix movie night one night. And so, Sam, 2 nights ago, Jonathan and I were in the kitchen and we're talking. And we were referencing, funny enough, he was listening to an Alex Hormozy video where Alex filmed this video 9 months ago. And he actually broke down in this video. He started crying because he spoke about how he's from Baltimore. And when he was starting his gym business, he looked around and said, where do I need to be in order to improve myself the most? And he identified that going out west and being in the West Coast, that's where all the gym owners were. That's where people who were like-minded, that's where he would have opportunity. That's where he was going to go. And he left. And he said the last bit of leaving was, I love football. I love watching the Baltimore Ravens. And I realized I can't do that anymore. And when I separated, I left the Baltimore Ravens behind, which effectively, it might just seem like a football team, but that was the last remnants of who I was. That was the last bit. That was the last thing holding me to the version of me that I used to be. And so it was emotional. And so for all of you, when you upgrade yourselves, you're going to be leaving the old version behind. If that seems terrifying to you, it is. If it doesn't seem worth it to you, I'm telling you, on the other side, life is so much bigger. Life is so much better. S, simplify. The S in focus, simplify. There's a mathematical equation. Now, it took scientists probably, I think it was like it was old Italian mathematicians. It took them over 1,000 years to figure out this mathematical equation for simplify. And thankfully for you guys, I memorized this equation. Like, don't even ask me how I memorized it, but I got it, and I'm about to teach it to you right now. Normally, it takes college professors anywhere between 3 to 4 years to get this into students. I promise you, I'm going to get it to you guys in the next 20 seconds. Ready for the equation? Done. Like, guys, that is the equation for 2025. Less equals more. That is the equation. Now, you want to hear something really freaking messed up? I'm going to show you guys an image. And, it's going to... Sam, I'm almost like scared to show people this image, but I think they need to see this. Look at this. I'm going to explain this on what I'm putting on the screen right now. Okay. Look at this image for a moment. You guys, we got 2 people here. Let's call the guy on the left with the plates Joe, and the guy with the red hair, Ben. And so Joe, you see his thoughts. No time for planning. Just got to keep them spinning. And Joe is multitasking. Joe is spinning all the plates. He's doing all the things. He wants more out of life. So he's just like, I'm just going to do more. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. And then he's got this guy, Ben. Now, Ben presents himself as a friend. Ben is actually Joe's worst enemy. Ben's actually Joe's competition. Because look at what he's saying to himself. He says, I'm sure he could spin a few more. He knows damn well that if he puts more plates on, this guy's going to get distracted. He's going to drop these plates. They're going to break. And this is what's happening. A lot of these gurus out there, the reality is they don't want you focused on just one thing. Because if you're focused on just one thing, they can't sell you more product. They can't sell you the next subscription. They can't sell you the next coaching. If they told you the truth, that the one coaching you bought from them is actually the only coaching you need for the next 4 months, that inside of it, it already contains every piece of information that you need to be successful, and you just need to keep coming back to this one thing that was already made for you, that the solution was already given to you, well then, damn, that would stop you from buying the other $60,000 in my product suite. So instead, I'm going to encourage you when you say, hey, I think I'm ready to do some Airbnbs and some RV parks right now. I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know what? That's so great. You should come to the workshop. Yeah, you could definitely do it. No, I mean, look, I'm able to handle 12 things at once. So can you. You're just like me. I mean, sure, you don't have 40 years of business experience and you don't have 400 employees behind you, but it's okay. You could do it too. Guys, I want you to simplify in this season of your business right now, in this season of your life. I want you to simplify and recognize the equation that less is more. In fact, I was listening to an interview that Jeff Bezos did. Jeff Bezos doesn't do a lot of interviews, and this one he did last December. And Bezos was talking about his early childhood because he mentioned that he doesn't suffer from distractibility. He says, I'm actually a very focused person. He says, I don't, I'm on social media. He says, I go on social media, but I'm very careful about how much time I spend on social media. I go there to mine for ideas because there's a handful of very smart people that I do follow. He said, but I'm careful not to stay there too long because the algorithm is so damn good that it will start to show me things that may distract me. So I'm very intentional about where my focus goes. And he brings us back to a childhood story when he was in Montessori school. And at Montessori school, he said, I would get so into the work in front of me that in order for my teachers to get me to work on something else, they had to physically pick the chair up that I was sitting in and physically place me at a new desk in order to get me to work on something new because I wouldn't break off from the thing in front of me. Business is going to require you to find the one thing to focus on, not chasing 30 different tasks. And what's so interesting, when I talk about simplifying, I want you to look in your business and ask yourself, what's the one thing that if I accomplish, it will make every other task easier or irrelevant? And instead of doing every other task, you do the one thing. This is your new framework for focus, everybody. Make sure you have it written down. You should have been writing it down this entire time. And so when this episode's over, I want you to share, like always, share your notes in the comment section. I want you to come back because I read through those. I want to see who was paying attention. I want to see the value you got. I want to see what your takeaway was and tell me how you plan to implement the focus framework in 2025. That's all I care about. What action are you going to take? What action are you going to commit to in 2025 on the focus framework? So, Sam, good to see you, bro.
Dude, that was so damn good. Dude, that's it. 2025, year of focus, man. And it's going to be funny because here's the thing, not to get into it. We're going to see. It'll be so goddamn evident who was focused this year. We'll be able to see it, like, honestly, in a month or two. The people who are focused, you'll see the traction. And I want everyone to, like, pay attention to who else is in the chat, who else is in the comments, who all, like our consistent viewers. And you'll find this out. In the next 3 months, there are people who are going to start getting obscene traction. And if you're the person who didn't, you're going to start feeling really bad about it. And you're going to feel like, holy crap, they're moving. Why isn't it working for me? Why isn't it working for me? And here's what's going to happen. You're going to want to jump ship to whatever someone else is doing, right? Whatever Chris is doing or whatever Jade is doing, because they're getting traction. And it's not because their strategy is any better than yours. It's just, they just stuck with it. And while you look to jump ship, they're going to actually make sure there's not a single ship around them to jump to because they're committed to their own. So guys, focus, huge key. That's it. It's all that matters, man. That's so good, bro. You crushed it.
Dude, I freaking loved it. This was a great episode. I enjoyed the energy. Last thing I'm going to say before we bounce out of here, Chris, shout out to Chris. He had this comment in the chat about 30 minutes ago, and I saw it, and I wanted to come back to it because this is in perfect alignment with what Sam just said. Time in the industry beats timing the industry. Time spent, just start doing the work. You want to do what we do? Then do what we did. All right, guys, we love you. You got to pay your dues. If you got value from this episode at all, what I need you to do is I need you to share this episode. Like this one, I'm I'm asking you to share this episode specifically tonight. Maybe because I'm so fired up on it. Maybe it's because it's about my word of the year for 2025, focus. And maybe it's because 2025 is just a cool year. But this episode tonight, I need you to take your phone out, to get that share button on YouTube, and I need you to send it to every person in your life that you want to see win. Send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to your uncle, send it to your friend. And if you're someone who is watching this because you received it, pass the favor on. If you're like, damn, if you're all the way at the end of the episode and you received this from somebody else and you're now watching it, that means it's your turn to share this episode with a friend. So we love you guys. We'll be back next week for another episode of Think Big, episode 117.